That task you keep avoiding, your brain is fighting a feeling, and the feeling is winning. Neuroscience researchers have been watching this happen in real time on brain scans. And what they found completely changes the conversation about why we put things off. I'm Coach Janet J. And today on Your Next Best Step, we are looking at the real reason behind procrastination and the one question that can break the loop. Here is a scene that might feel familiar. You have something on your list. Maybe it is a phone call you need to make. Maybe it's a doctor's appointment you have been meaning to schedule for months. Maybe it is a conversation with someone you love that you keep rehearsing in your head and never have out loud. You know what needs to happen? You've told yourself a dozen times this week. And then you find yourself scrolling your phone. You answer emails that were not urgent. You start reorganizing something that was perfectly fine. You open an app you did not even mean to open. Anything except the one thing that actually matters. And then comes the part that really stings. You judge yourself for it. You call yourself lazy. You wonder what is wrong with you. You promise you will do it tomorrow, and tomorrow plays out exactly the same way. Sound familiar? Good. Because the reason this keeps happening has a specific research backed explanation. And once you see it, the whole loop looks different. Dr. Timothy Pychyl is a psychology professor at Carleton University in Ottawa, Canada, who has spent decades studying procrastination. And his conclusion is blunt. Procrastination is an emotion regulation problem, a feeling problem. When you avoid a task, you are avoiding the feeling that the task triggers: boredom, anxiety, inadequacy, fear that you'll get it wrong, resentment that the task landed on your plate in the first place when you already have a full day. Your brain registers that uncomfortable feeling as a signal to move away. And it does what brains are designed to do with signals like that. It steers you towards something easier, towards something that provides immediate relief. That is why you end up scrolling or tidying or starting a project that was not even on the list. Your brain is protecting you from an emotion it would rather skip. Neuroimaging research supports this. When people face aversive tasks, the regions of the brain involved in processing the threat and negative emotion, including the amygdala, showed increased activation. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for planning and self regulation, has reduced connectivity with those emotional centers. The alarm system is loud. The planning system is quiet. And avoidance feels like the only reasonable option. A randomized controlled trial published in Frontiers in Psychology tested this directly. Participants received training in emotion regulation skills, learning how to recognize, name, and work with difficult feelings. The researchers did not teach time management. They did not hand out planners. They taught people how to handle their emotions. And procrastination significantly decreased in the group that received the training compared to the control group. The feelings were the obstacle. Addressing the feelings moved the needle. So, what does that mean for you today? It means you can stop calling yourself lazy. Every time that word comes up, you can replace it with a more honest question. What am I feeling right now about this task? The thing you've been putting off, the phone call, the appointment, the conversation, the financial decision, the project you started and abandoned, is stuck because something about it triggers an emotion your brain would rather avoid. And the beautiful thing about that reframe is it gives you something specific to work with. You can work with the feeling. Feelings respond to attention. If you listen to episode 71, The Practice of Staying, you will remember we talked about how naming an emotion reduces its intensity in your brain. UCLA researcher Matthew Lieberman showed that putting a word to what you feel activates your prefrontal cortex and quiets the alarm response. That same principle applies here. In episode 71, we used naming to stay present when emotions felt heavy. Today, we are using it to identify the specific feeling that is blocking you from a task. Same tool, different application. Proverbs 13:4 says, "The desires of the diligent are fully satisfied." The word diligent is worth pausing on because I think we misread it. We hear diligent and picture someone who powers through, who pushes harder, who white knuckles their way to the finish line. The disciplined one, the one who just does it. The Hebrew word is karutz. It carries the idea of being decisive, of making an incision, of cutting through. Less grinding out, more clarity. Knowing what matters and moving toward it, even when the movement is small. Diligence in the biblical sense is about direction, and direction starts with understanding what is actually in your way. If the obstacle is a feeling that you have not named, no amount of willpower is going to move it. Naming it is the incision. That is where the work begins. Mentally, procrastination consumes cognitive energy. Unfinished tasks create a background hum of self-criticism that takes up space in your thinking all day long. Emotionally, the shame cycle is exhausting. You avoid. You judge yourself for avoiding. You feel worse. Then you avoid again. The loop has a specific cause and it can be interrupted. Physically, chronic procrastination is associated with higher cortisol levels and increased cardiovascular risk over time. The stress of avoidance shows up in your body. Spiritually, there is freedom in understanding your struggle with follow through is an emotion management challenge. And God is interested in what is underneath the avoidance. He is patient with the process of uncovering it. Here is your next best step. Think of one thing you've been putting off, just one. Then ask yourself this question. What feeling am I avoiding by not doing this? Is it boredom, inadequacy, fear of getting it wrong, resentment, grief? Sit with that for a moment. Name it out loud if you can. Emotions lose power when they have a name. And then do just 2 minutes of the task. Only 2. You are not committing to finishing. You are showing your brain that the feeling is survivable. 2 minutes. That's it. Procrastination is an emotion regulation challenge. Your brain avoids the feeling and the task gets caught in the crossfire. Research confirms that learning to name and work with those feelings is more effective at reducing procrastination than any planner or productivity system. And Proverbs reminds us that diligence starts with clarity, with cutting through to what is actually in the way. Name the feeling. Do 2 minutes. That is your next best step. On Wednesday, we're looking at something your brain does automatically that you have probably never questioned. It's called the negativity bias, and it affects how you see yourself, your relationships, and even your faith. That one is going to surprise you. If you have a moment, a rating or review makes a real difference. It helps other women find this show, and I'm so grateful for everyone. I will see you Wednesday. Take your next best step.